So you've got your new shiny 12.9 inch or 11 inch iPad Pro and you're like, man, I need some accessories. What should I get? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Hey guys, it's Jeff the IT guy. And right here we've got two 12.9 inch iPad Pros. And we're going to be going over some of my favorite accessories that I like to use with my iPad. And so of course I haven't used every accessory available. However, there are quite a few here. I think there's, like 10 accessories, something like that, that I think are very good. And so the first one I want to start out with is, of course, the Apple Pencil. You've all seen the Apple Pencil. This is an excellent addition to the iPad Pro. I think it's actually a requirement for the iPad Pro. It's probably one of, maybe 5 items that I would consider are required for the iPad Pro. And the Apple Pencil 2 is definitely one of them. All right. And so the next thing that I've got here as an accessory, if I move this away, is actually something that's relatively cheap. And that's this little stand. This is by Lamicall. This is just called the A1 stand. All it is like some aluminum, and it's got some rubber pads, and all it is just a stand to raise the iPad up, so that it's kind of just raised up a little bit. It moves it about 2 inches off the ground, and it adjusts so that you can put the angle that you want on it, and it just raises it up a little bit. I think it makes it a lot more ergonomic, and it also allows you to use the next two products, which are the MX keys for Mac. This is an excellent keyboard. It's really great to type on. It feels really good. And what's great about these is they charge with USB-C, and so they don't require batteries. They have an internal battery. The battery life on it is amazing. It works with all of your Mac devices, so your iPad, your MacBook Pro, Mac Mini, whatever, and it has on it 3 different saved devices, and so you can actually use these buttons to switch between which device you're connected to via Bluetooth, which is awesome. And then when you get your hands close to it and stuff, it actually lights up, the backlights come on and everything. And which also brings us to the MX mouse. This is an excellent mouse if you are into, video editing or whatever. It's got, it doesn't have all the gesture support and stuff, but it does a lot. It's got a side scroll wheel. It's got, buttons on the side, and it is super, super, super comfortable. It's an excellent mouse. Okay, so next let's move on to something else for the iPad. And I think this is also, I wouldn't say it's a requirement, but if you're going to buy a keyboard / case for the iPad Pro, then this is the requirement. This is the Magic keyboard and case. It provides protection. It lifts it up a little bit. You can angle it. And it's got a keyboard and trackpad on it. And really it is the de facto king, when it comes to having the keyboard and cover for your iPad Pro. I think this is, like I said earlier, one of the five big items that you need for your iPad Pro, and that's the Magic Keyboard. Okay? And so the other ones, they're really not necessary. I think for me personally, the Apple Pencil and the Magic Keyboard mixed with the iPad Pro 12.9 inch, it's the perfect way to go for it. That's just me though. So we're going to move on to some dongles and storage. So let's talk about storage first. Of course, you can always go with the Lacy, Thunderbolt, or USB-C external storage. This one's 5 terabytes. It's got this rugged case. Lacy makes great stuff for Mac. It looks good. It works good. It's just good, You can't go wrong. It's 5 terabytes, which is a lot of storage. The next thing, which is pretty cool actually, is this is just an M.2 enclosure, is all it is. And so you put your M.2 drive in here, and you can use it as external storage. And so it connects via USB-C / Thunderbolt. The thing that you'll need to do with this though is, of course, you'll have to provision your drive on your Mac or something. Before you can use it with your iPad, I would go ahead and do that. But it allows you to use whatever drive you want. And so I always recommend Samsung drives here on the channel. That's the drives that I use with it. And so you can pick up, a 500 gig NVMe Samsung drive, maybe $60, $70. I'll have some linked. Or, 1 terabyte, 256, whatever you need. And it's in this very small enclosure, which is really cool. And so it's not that bad of a price. I think this enclosure is only like 20 bucks. So that's kind of it for storage. Next, we've got 2 dongles. Of course, there's all the Apple dongles that you can get. But these are some 2, I guess, semi-decently priced dongles. The first one is going to be this Anchor dongle here. And it's USB-C. And all it's got on it, it's only got, 5 things. It's got Ethernet, 3 USB Type A's, and HDMI. So if you're wanting to connect it to, an HDMI-enabled device, like your monitor or whatever, and you're wanting to use maybe a mouse and keyboard that's wired, you can do that, and then it's got Ethernet on it. You can also use this for your MacBook Pro, your Mac Mini, your MacBook Air, your iMac. It has a lot of uses, and it's fairly priced. The next one, to me, is really the one that you should have. This is, if you're going to buy anything, this is the dongle to have, in my opinion. And so this dongle is made by Satechi. It's USB-C Thunderbolt. And it has card readers on it. So you've got your full-size SD card and your mini SD cards. So if you want to work on footage. You've got a USB Type A here. You've got a USB-C here as well that can be passed through for power. And then you've also got HDMI. And so honestly, if you're using this machine, if you're using your iPad, you're probably going to have the Magic Keyboard. If you don't have the Magic Keyboard, you're probably going to have a Bluetooth-enabled mouse and keyboard. And so this one here makes a lot of sense because you can work with all your video footage off of your cameras. You've got a spot for USB Type A. You've got USB-C, and of course you can connect it to a monitor. And so something that I don't have here is a dock. And I've got a dock that I use with my XPS, which is really good. It's an Anchor dock. It's I think they call it the Power Expand 1301 or something. And it allows you to have 2 monitors, but they're not independent. They're mirrored. And it only allows you to do it up to 1080. There's also, in my opinion, which is probably the best Thunderbolt dock ever for a Mac, which is the CalDigit TS3 Plus. It's fantastic. I've talked about it here on the channel before. That, to me, is the Thunderbolt dock to have for a Mac. And so this is all of the accessories that I recommend for the iPad Pro. These are accessories that I use literally every day. I use these accessories every day. And I don't recommend stuff that I don't use. That's just how it is. Like, this is the stuff that I use. This is the stuff that I trust. I've tried other things, but this is the stuff that I personally use. So I wanted to bring this to you and let you know. So if you like these videos, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like if you like. Of course, all of this stuff is going to be linked down in the description below if you'd like to purchase it. The money that comes from Amazon does help me to do these sorts of videos. So I do appreciate it. So go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned. We're going to be talking about how if the iPad Pro can replace my MacBook Pro in my job, which is a director of IT. That's coming up. We're going to be talking about how I replaced my desktop PC with an XPS, a Dell XPS. We're going to be talking about if you can program on the iPad Pro. There's a lot of different things we're going to do here on the channel. So go ahead, stay tuned, hit that like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if you like these sorts of things or if you have some mentions that you'd like to mention as far as really cool accessories go for the iPad Pro. As always, keep it real.